So what's the secret to scouting Pro Bowl returners, since that seems to be all you do?
You know what? I guess the first thing I want to say is congratulations to Rashid. It's a great honor for him. Obviously, I think it's extremely well deserved. It's nice to get recognized. The good thing about the Pro Bowl is you really get you get the fan voting, you get the coaches vote, you get the administrators, you get players, you get a little bit of everybody kind of putting their 2 cents in. So really, really happy for him. As far as the scouting process goes, I think we've talked about that before. Just, Shaheed's a guy we looked at for a couple of years and just really saw, a really good vision for the player. And we were fortunate to get him, and he's really done the rest. I think the other thing about the Pro Bowl is, and I said this to the guys in the meeting this morning, it's really it's a group honor, in my opinion, because especially for a returner. In this game, you don't do anything by yourself. And, although Shaheed has been dynamic with the ball in his hand, he's got a lot of guys out there, 10 other guys that have been blocking for him. And I know he thanked those guys. And so it's a really nice honor for the whole core group. So good for him, and really, really happy for him. There's a human element to this game that sometimes we forget about. And Shaheed's a great person. And I'm just really, really happy for him. His family, we've become very close. He's become close with my family. He's been great to my family as well, and good things happen to good people. So it's good to see his hard work, pay off. So really, really happy for him.
Darren, you were also, I don't know if you saw this NFLPA survey, you were listed among the top 5 special teams coaches in approval rating from your own players. Does that mean something coming from who voted on it?
Yeah, it does, to be honest with you. It's really nice to be recognized by the players. We spend an unbelievable amount of time, and I think that's another thing that sometimes gets kind of lost in the shuffle, is we spend an inordinate amount of time with these guys. And so the players have a different perspective on things, I think, maybe different than the public, different than the coaches, different than maybe the front office. So to get recognized by those guys is a tremendous honor. To me, coaching is about teaching. And it just tells me that I think those guys, kind of value what we've done. We obviously we work very, very hard at it, and so to get recognized not only by our players but other players around the league is a really nice honor. So yeah.
Riz, what did you sell Rashid on? I mean, you've got a guy, he comes in, he's undrafted, he can go anywhere else.
We kind of sold him on the history. I've been fortunate to have a couple of good returners both here and in Miami, where I was for 10 years, and kind of sold him on the vision for what we thought he could be. We felt like not only could he be a returner, but we also felt like he could help us out at receiver. So we didn't feel like he was a kind of a one-trick pony. We felt like he could be anytime you're trying to put a vision together for a player, he's kind of that. Coming in, he was kind of that ideal 4th or 5th guy that we felt like could really help our offense and be a dual returner. He was obviously extremely productive in college, and so we really felt like that would translate. No different than other guys in the past. Felt like his production would translate over. The speed was there. There was no doubt about that. He stuck out on 1AA or whatever they call it now, FCS film, and he really, really flashed. So. We sold him and his agent on really what we thought the vision for him was, and we sold a little bit of what we had done as a special teams unit, kind of where he fit in the big picture. So
we can look at the stats, but could you point out maybe some characteristics that aren't as easy to see that you thought he has done well or improved upon since he got here?
Yeah, I think the first thing that stands out is, I don't know if the general fan realizes how much different the punt game is in the NFL as it is in college. There's a drastic difference because of the rules. That's why you see all the rugby punts and the people covering downfield. And so a lot of times a college returner doesn't field NFL-style punts, and the game is completely different. And so there is definitely a transition period. And like I said, whether it was Deontay, I had Jakeem Grant, who was a really good returner in Miami. There's different guys. Those guys all have to transition from, the college rules to the NFL rules. And I think Shaheed had done a really nice job there. He was really productive as a kick returner in college, maybe not as much as a punt returner. He had good numbers, but not the numbers he's put up in the NFL. And so I think his work ethic, one thing the fans wouldn't see is that guy probably catches over 100 balls a week off the jugs. Still, not just when he got here. I just left the indoor, and he just got done catching a bunch of post practice. He's out there. He's got the jugs out there. Just the little things like that he's put the time and effort into it. I think the other thing he's done a great job of is with film studying the opponents, knowing who what our game plan is for those particular weeks. I think last week is a really good example. It might not go down as a big play in a game, but he fields the ball inside the 10 and goes and gets 12 yards, that's a first down that the offense doesn't have to get. Just little things like that might go under the radar. I know he's up there in return yards in the league, combo return yards. And so, everyone sees the dynamic plays. Everyone sees the 70-yard touchdowns. And to me, he's gotten really good at making ordinary plays or inordinary plays look ordinary. And I think that's probably the biggest compliment I can give him. Maybe his first year, last year, where there were some balls that we didn't return, or maybe that we didn't field, things like that go unnoticed. Where the ball hits the ground and rolls for 20 yards. That hidden yardage, he's really helped our team in that aspect, and I think that's probably gone unnoticed by most.
So when you were recruiting him, so to speak, were you the point man, or was it also?
Yes, initially myself and Phil Galliano, our assistant special teams coach. We do a returner study every year in all the colleges, all the different levels, from the Power 5 right on through Division 3. We kind of look at everybody. That's how we kind of unearth Deontay, if you will. And same thing with Shaheed. Now, again, I've told this story before. Shaheed's story is a little bit unique because he decided he had an extra COVID year. So we actually thought he was coming out the year before. So we were prepared to take him as either a late round draft pick or a free agent the year before that. And then he went back and then ultimately tears his ACL in his last college game, which was unfortunate for him and maybe fortunate for us, in a unique and strange way. So, but it's all worked out. It's been a really great marriage. And I look for him to have a lot of great years to come. I think the amazing thing about him is, in my opinion, he's just scratching the surface. I think he can even be a much better returner and a much better receiver, and I think he's got a real bright future.
But in terms of selling him as a receiver, was there somebody on the offensive staff doing that too, or were you kind of the main guy?
Well, I think once we had the vision for the player, I think then once we got into the draft part of it, we had our offensive coaches watch him and watch his big play reel and all that kind of thing, and so that's when we thought that he was, he could really help both sides.
But it started as
it did. It started off as a returner. It did. And then we saw the vision for the player. He made more plays. I think he got all the notice and all the accolades for his returns. But you watch, there was some really good offensive film there too. Interesting thing about him is, I'm sure you guys know, is he ends up at Weber State because they were the one school that told him he had all these track scholarships and all that stuff. Weber State was the one school that told him he could do both and play football. And so, if I'm not mistaken, his family obviously has a really rich track history. His younger sister, I think, just committed to Oregon for track. So, and his older sister is a Division I track star too. So, Weber State was the school that told me to play football. It worked out well for them. So.